speaking of well-deserved, um, that's not the best segue, I'll be honest. It's not.
I mean,
But
depending on who you are, it could be.
that's true. But I think what I am positive about from the Sony side of the console wars, allegedly, is this next article that you're about to cover.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another Verge article from Tom Warren yet again. Dude, I think Tom just works all day.
Dude, that's all he does. I think he must have a bunch of people that give him insider information, so he just knows where to be and who to talk to at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know he's married and has a dog. So, hopefully he still has time for family. But
I'm sure.
But yeah. So, Sony. Ladies and gentlemen, Sony is starting to test out cloud streaming PS5 games. Let's go, Mike.
It's about time. Put them in the TVs. Let's go.
Yeah. So, PlayStation Plus Premium members will eventually get access to stream PS5 games without having to download them to the console. This comes right after we just got news of a handheld that requires the console, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
And
it's a streaming device.
Back. Of course.
So you know what?
Basically,
you know what I'm thinking?
Yeah,
that handheld, I ain't gonna need a console eventually. That's all I'm saying. Because I can just stream over the internet. Just get an upgraded hardware version. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Well, I actually, oh my gosh. Imagine doing PlayStation VR 2 with the handheld as well. And then you're cloud gaming through a Sony TV. Like,
crazy.
Who needs a PS5? I don't.
I say we tweet at Sony. That's what I say.
Do you think they'll respond? Xbox would.
Right? Xbox would. That's all I'm saying, Sony.
We got proofs. All right, let's stop ranting. Let's get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sony says it has started testing the ability to stream PS5 games from the cloud. The PlayStation maker says it's testing cloud streaming for PS5 games and is planning to add this as a feature to its PlayStation Plus Premium subscription. Quote, we're currently testing cloud streaming for supported PS5 games. This includes PS5 titles from the PlayStation Plus game catalog and game trials, as well as supported digital PS5 titles that players own. This is coming from Nick McGuire. See, that's such an easy name, and my brain just can't read.
I only know it because I watched the Premier League, and I'm an England fan. And you got Harry Maguire on the team. So
yeah,
that's the only reason I know that last name.
Plays to watch the football. So Nick McGuire, VP of Global Services, Global Sales, and Business Operations at Sony Interactive Entertainment. When this feature launches, cloud game streaming for supported PS5 titles will be available for use directly on your PS5 console. A cloud feature of PS5 games would mean you'll no longer have to download games to your console to stream them to other devices. Sony currently supports streaming PS5 games to PCs, Macs, and iOS and Android devices, but you have to use your PS5 as the host to download and stream titles to your other devices. Where that infrastructure at, Mike? You know what I'm saying?
Not there yet, but hey, this is progress, right? Because we've been ranting about this for like 3 years since we've been doing the podcast, and we've known each other. I've been saying Sony needs to get cloud gaming, and if they don't, they're going to fall behind. They've definitely fallen behind. Microsoft's way ahead.
Yep.
And maybe, just maybe, they can catch up in time.
Yeah, hopefully. That'd be nice. It has seemed obvious for months that Sony was working on cloud streaming for PS5 games. Recent job listings hinted at a new cloud gaming push, and then PlayStation chief Jim Ryan teased quite aggressive plans for cloud gaming last month. But Sony went on to reveal its PlayStation handheld codenamed Project Q by only confirming Wi-Fi streaming of PS5 games directly from a console. While Sony still hasn't detailed whether its PlayStation handheld will support PS5 cloud game streaming, this PlayStation Plus Premium cloud push is clearly a move toward that, even if there's no release date yet. That's pretty much what you're saying, Mike. Step in the right direction, you know?
Yeah. We still don't know what the price is going to be for the Project Q handheld device. So hopefully we hear something about that as well.
Yeah, hopefully. Sony CEO, I'm going to shorten the first name, Ken Yoshida. You like that?
That was pretty clever.
Ken Yoshida hinted earlier this month that the company is still in the early stages of cloud gaming, so perhaps Project Q will still launch in November without this key support. We think it's important for premium members to be able to enjoy as many games as possible via cloud streaming, says McGuire. We're in the early stages right now, and we can't wait to share more details when we're ready, including a launch timeframe. Sony's confirmation of PS5 cloud streaming comes more than 4 years after it unveiled a surprising partnership with Microsoft that would see the companies collaborate to develop future cloud solutions for game and content streaming services. We haven't heard much about this deal since 2019, and in 2021, PlayStation chief Jim Ryan said Sony was still at the exchanging ideas stage, despite an original promise of the game rivals exploring the use of Microsoft Azure data center based solutions for Sony games and content streaming services. Given Sony's recent mentions of AWS and its job listings, the Microsoft strategic partnership could well be over. I think it would make sense. It'd be,
Not shocked.
This is
they kind of burnt that bridge, I think.
Yeah, I especially over the past few months with these proceedings.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, could you imagine being like a team leader trying to get your cloud gaming off the ground, and you're in the meetings with Microsoft executives trying to get it to work while your like CEO and president of Sony and PlayStation is just talking massive trash to Xbox? That would be so awkward.
Dude, oh my gosh, it's so true. And this is the thing. It's not even like there's like obvious problems between the two companies and there's arguments there, but it's also like just I think it's just sacrilegious for Sony to use Azure for their like data hosting.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like kind of weird. I mean, it'll work. It would work obviously, and they could make it work. But it's just like I think it's pretty funny that it. I think it's definitely not. It's not crazy that it just didn't work, or it seems like it's not going to work.
There's no way. They probably charge them a premium too.
Yeah. This thing. I mean, look, AWS is fantastic. A lot of and so is Azure, but I think the fact that they're probably hiring more AWS like centric developers, yeah, they're probably going AWS. Which hey, more business for Amazon because they need it, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're struggling.
That's struggling, right. Struggling startup. But yeah. Overall though, yeah, I want to see PlayStation games over cloud. Like I think
do too.
Once like whenever we get there, which I at this point seems inevitable, I think it's gonna be a good day, and it's gonna invite more people into Sony ecosystem. And granted, they're not gonna have the same library as Microsoft, of course, with Game Pass, but I think just having the ability to stream any like PlayStation game in general, like even if it's not PS5, like an entire back catalog, it would be insane. I mean, they'd probably never do it, but like a dream would be like if they essentially had the entire back catalog of PS1, PS2, like PS3 games, and you could just play it over the cloud, and you just had that whole library for a small fee a month. I mean, dude,
I would sign up tomorrow.
That's the thing, and
easily.
I mean, Xbox obviously, even their library is not that vast for cloud streaming, but it's
no, it's really not. It's like 250 games or something like that, and they just really hit you with the heavy hitters every now and then. But they cycle as well, so it's like you gotta make sure you play it when you want to play it or when you can.
Yeah, this is the thing. Yeah, and that's also how they get you to stay subscribed, right? Because they're trying to rotate the catalog. But at the same time, it's like if this is I think it's a way for these companies to go back on their older IP and their older games and make money off of that again, which I think would be amazing from a business standpoint. But yeah, you also they have to figure out like kind of a song and dance with it of, how do we, because obviously like it probably wouldn't be the best, like, although for the consumer it'd be great, but I think business wise, it may not be the best to just say like, here's the entirety of our catalog throughout history. And they, probably will rotate games in and out and stuff. And they, infrastructure wise, it would probably be next to impossible to host all of those games, at once. So, I'm sure infrastructure wise, there may be some difficulty. It may not be there yet. But dude, that's the dream, honestly, for me. Like one day.
I think the one thing you're missing about the game catalog, and you'll know this because I think you just basically recently started messing with emulators, is that in order to do a game like cloud streaming, you would have to do one of two things. You'd either have to update all of the games from like previous generations to the newer hardware, newer like networking ability, if it has online ability and stuff like that. Or if it doesn't have online ability, how does that work? That kind of thing. or you're gonna have to run it through a cloud-based emulator in order to play those old games. And then you're gonna have an emulator for each individual console, plus the internet
Yeah,
to make
very
it
true.
work. It's like that's really challenging right now, especially for the developers that are working on like Xbox Emu Station, or that's like the Xbox 360 emulator, and then there's Dolphin as well. There's like Retro Arch that messes with pretty much everything before 1999, and it's like it's kind of that's the trouble that they keep having. And even then, you technically have the hard copies because you have the original game files, but you got to run it through like old processing software, and it's like a whole mess.
Yeah,
But that's not what we're really talking about. We're mostly talking about like PlayStation 5 and their title is finally getting to Game Pass. Or not Game Pass, sorry, cloud gaming. I'm so used to saying Game Pass and cloud gaming that it's like their branding's working on me. It's synonymous now.
yeah,
No, with PlayStation 5, if they can make it so I don't have to have a PS5, I will probably buy the cloud service.
I would too.
If I can
Are
play
you
it on
kidding
like a
me?
PC or any type of device. If I can get this like little USB device similar to what Fire Stick is,
Yeah,
like I'll definitely do that in a heartbeat. I would love to play single player games. They're not that bad on cloud.
yeah.
The delay isn't that bad. So
Yeah, I think if you get a box too, if you have some sort of streaming device, that's probably gonna be the best way to do it at the current state or like internet
yeah,
infrastructure's in. But
like the old Apple TVs.
right, yeah, yeah. But I think like see, I'm TV shopping. I think I mentioned this before. I'm trying
Yep,
to look for a TV over the summer.
Samsung.
Yeah,
That's what you're talking
and
about.
this thing, I'm leaning towards Samsung because it's you have the ability to
Cloud.
stream like xCloud, Luna, GeForce Now. Like you have the ability to stream those games directly to the TV, no other hardware required, which is awesome. Could Sony, if they do like a sort of cloud thing, could they just start implanting their own app and then I'd be able to play that? It's like be pretty sick. So
Yeah.
yeah. But I think also having the ability to have a streaming device is, I feel like at least right now, I feel like would be a must for like early adopters and just making sure that you can use any sort of display. But it's just a cheaper kind of little box that will be able to kind of hold, will be able to withstand and uphold the processing power that'll be needed for this. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think that's totally fair. I think I'm I'm gonna just beat a dead horse at this point. Cat's in the
yeah.
cam.
Hey, don't
Um,
bite my
beat
mic.
a dead
You
horse
see
at
this
this
cat?
point.
Get out of here.
Now the cat's the show. Meanwhile,
Get
my
out of
dog
here.
is fast asleep. Not this time. Uh, yeah. So like, why doesn't Sony put the PlayStation inside of a TV yet? I don't understand. I really don't, and I can't comprehend it. Um, can't say its size because we used to have CRT TVs and like PVMs that were like just massive boxes in the living room that weighed like 180 pounds. It's like, come on, man,
Yeah.
make it work. But yeah, I guess that's my take on it. It's good. I wish it was already here.
Yeah, I do
There's a
too,
demand.
honestly. There's definitely a demand. This thing, you said, dude, they're behind. And I hope that is no longer
Yeah.
the case here over the coming years.
The good news is they're not behind on like first party games, like exclusives, I guess.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
Last of Us totally crushes it. Gears of War, Final Fantasy, although Final Fantasy is not exclusive, but it always kind of hits different on the PlayStation. You know,
It does for sure. Get it together, Sony, I want to stream your games.
facts. I'll jump ship. I'll get off the Samsung TV hype and start getting over on the Sony hype. You just make cloud gaming a thing, man.
Very true.